So there is a whole crew that is getting hit with a beautiful list of subpoenas and investigation. It's not investigation from the Department of Justice. It's not investigation from an ethics committee or even your brother's marriage counselor. No. This is an ethics and an official inquiry series of requests from the Treasury Department, which means Scott Bessent is out there grinding an axe. And here is for whom this particular bell tolls. So the Nueva America Convoy de Wonderfulness, whatever, that the Code Pink and communist sympathizers organized to sail to Cuba. Well, remember, we covered this last month. Made the decision to bring not only foodstuffs and a series of medical supplies, but also left a couple of things on an undisclosed manifest that were then delivered directly to the Cuban regime. And I made the case that it was rather strange how of the solar panels that you could see being loaded into vehicles in Central America, once they actually got to Cuba, they didn't actually show up on any hospitals' roofs. Remember those hospitals that were running out of power? Yeah, they didn't show up anywhere. Isn't that strange? And not only is that, rather bizarre, but it gets a little bit worse for him. See, we actually have, from their very own mouths, the individuals saying they worked with the Cuban government to thwart the United States and bypass sanctions and blockades and other constitutionally prescient and upholden measures that are supposed to keep you from committing treason in the United States or abroad. So this brings us to the people who are in very, very, very big trouble. So Hasan Piker, who's a terrible person, left-wing streamer, a guy who's not only, shocked his dog, but just openly praises Mao and Castro and all other kinds of terrible things. Now, he's a fat little rich boy who grew up in the lap of luxury, just like all of the communists and their sympathizers. Shout out to Zoran Mamdani. But he made a little bit of a boo-boo before this even got started.
I want to go to Cuba. Would you be down?
I fucking love Cuba.
Oh, yeah? You'd be down?
Yeah, I filmed a documentary there once.
The Cuban government actually hit my contact from the embassy.
Here we go. The Treasury Department is looking into saying, hey, did you do any foreign requests against the United States? Did a foreign government reach out to you and say, hello, comrade, please be bringing of the foodstuffs and also all of these equipment and maybe weapon, who knows? Bring it to my comrades in the Havana, Cuba. And then Hasan Piker's like, gee, okay, sure.
And told him that if the only thing stopping us from coming to Cuba was the consistent internet access, we can make it happen.
Yeah, Cuba is sick.
Wait, the government reached out to you?
So, yeah, of course. It's, not reached out to me. There's there's a middleman.
It's too late.
There.
Oh, it's a middleman. Oh, that's even worse. My man, you are violating what the kids would call laws.
Because I had a doctor from Cuba. Cuba does this thing called medical missions. Uh-huh. And they've been doing it since, I believe, the 70s. And it's incredibly successful. They have a massive, very robust, medical program because they have to because they're under an incredible sanctions regime by the United States of America that the rest of the world thinks is abhorrent, except for America and Israel that keep consistently vetoing it over and over again.
Yeah, no. So first of all, this all comes down to the Cuban Assets Control Regulations of your boy's favorite little acronym that I know I shared with you about a month ago, OFAC. That's the Office of Foreign Assets Control, the Treasury Department. In other words, how you as an American are really not allowed to act on behalf of America's enemies here at home and abroad. So various statutes include the Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917, the Cuban Democracy Act of 1992, the Helms-Burton Act, otherwise known as the Cuban Liberty and Democratic Solidarity Act of 1996, and various related provisions in the Foreign Assistance Act. So if Hasan Piker took a bunch of directions and instructions from Cuban middlemen, oh, they didn't reach out to me directly, they reached out to me by the embassy, which is reaching out to you directly. If the embassy of China contacts me here in the United States, and it's an embassy of China's, that's their territory, that's their government officials. That's still China contacting me. Don't be dumb. When there were individuals from the Qatari government who invited me to come on an all-expenses influencer trip of wonder, when I sent back a middle finger emoji, it was to the Qatari government. Isn't that cool? Kind of crazy. Neat stuff, huh? So let's get into this a little bit more here. He had another boo-boo because these fools can never just shove their own foot in their mouth once.
I think that ultimately the target is probably Singham and his operation from PSL to Answer Coalition to Code Pink, like anything that he has ever financed.
And why does this matter? Well, our dear pal Singham over here lives in China. He lives in China. He has been directly tied to and has admitted to in several places and times working for the Chinese Communist Party. And he funds a series of United States-based endeavors, including Code Pink. And of course, we've talked about that group repeatedly. The United States government is coming down on all of these various prop-up organizations that are funded by individuals like Singham, who is a Chinese front piece.
And it's not new. It's been around for a while. But it's obviously it's held through regardless because like it's ridiculous, right? It's like totally fucking
incredible. Sorry about the bleep there, Allison. So he's very, very, very upset that the United States is, going after some of these Chinese cutouts. The freakouts are the best though. The freakouts are just supreme. So one of these individuals, Susan Medea Benjamin, she's the head of Code Pink. She's just losing it because, again, when they start asking questions here, Susan and Hasan are facing very, very serious, very real jail time. This is not an ethics committee investigation. This is not a little DOJ hop, skip, and a jump. This is the real deal. She knows it.
Keep sending food and medicines, and we've been sending every 2 weeks. We've been sending thousands of pounds of medicines and food, and keep collecting donations from Cuba. We have
That's illegal. You can't collect donations from a foreign. I as a person here in the United States, let's say that as a here at the Daily Signal, we cannot accept donations without telling the IRS or the Treasury or the State Department from any foreign country at all. Period. And for example, there is a trip that I am very well considering heading over to Hungary here in the next couple of years to speak to a group of conservatives over there. And if in point that they offer to cover my flight over there, that will be publicly disclosed and reported to the State Department. And by the way, they may suggest, no, Tony, you should just pay this your own way yourself. It would be a lot better. In which case I'll say, absolutely, you got it. Because there should be no situation in which you are taking orders from a foreign power, especially a declared enemy under congressional law of the United States. And what she's saying here matters because she has already made a significant bad, stinky choice.
another 2,500 pounds of food that we're sending next Saturday. And we'll just keep doing that. And I think it's so important to be sending whatever we can. It's also important to go there and spend money because, as you said, people are earning $15, $20 a month. So just going there and giving tips and buying meals and whatever you can spend is helping the economy, as well as, Dot, creating friendships and real ties with the Cuban people.
So allow me to make this clear. Going to another country and taking extra money for the purpose of stimulating a regime's economy is not allowed. That in and of itself is not allowed. But even if we take that aside, there's an issue. She claims that there are all of these detailed manifests. We this much food, this much medicine, only food and medicine, but hasn't released the manifests. That's rather suspicious. Release the manifest. What is it exactly that you were carrying over there that you don't want the public to see? Have you been dropping off cases of Baofeng radio transceivers? Have you been dropping off cases of rechargeable NICADs? Have you been dropping off military or pseudo-military equipment? Man, why were there certain solar panels just popping up on regime headquarter buildings after you left? That's rather curious. I'm just shocked.
Oh, there's a big surprise.
Incredible things. But the decisions don't get any better for them because Hasan is now freaking out too. He is. He's losing it because he knows he's not just like kind of guilty and, oh no, a lawsuit, I'm going to have to settle. This is even better than mortgage fraud. Because as you guys know, when it comes to covering these kind of crimes, I make it clear, if you are dumb enough to commit crimes, first of all, don't commit crimes. But if you're going to get out there and commit like a white collar crime, don't commit the kind of crimes that I can pull up on a series of documents. So if I open up the filing cabinet and see that you violated the law in triplicate, it's real easy to throw you in jail over it. Here's Hasan Piker losing his McMarbles because he recognizes the writing is on the wall and also in those financial forms.
And I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's not great. The news is not great. Okay. I mean, it's bullshit, but still not great that, you know, they're after your boy. They're up my ass. And I'll obviously get into it right now. I'll tell you all about it, but let me blast off real quick. We will free you, brother. Yeah, free me. Free me.
Oh, free me, help. Radio crew will send you guys over to the commercial. Try not to violate basic U.S. law while I'm gone.